Hey everyone, Winifred here. And today I'm really excited to get into a conversation with Adam David, who is a member of the Witching Well. He's also a really talented healer in his own right. So I'm super excited to have Adam here. And we thought we would chat a little bit about Adam's experience inside the Witching Well. I know for a lot of folks, the Witching Well is like very much a modern collective. It's online, it's virtual. I like to call it like the uncoven. There's nothing wrong with covens, but I kind of think of the Witching Well as more like an uncovening experience. So it brings a lot of the benefits that a coven provides, but it doesn't have the same structure as a coven. So it can be really helpful if someone on the inside of the Witching Well jumps into a conversation with me and we just chat about their journey, their experience. So Adam has graciously lent his time today. I'm really excited. I could talk for hours with Adam. So we're going to try to keep our heads on our time frame here today. But Adam, share a little bit about yourself. Thank you for being here. Tell folks a little bit about who you are, what makes you smile in the world, what lights you up.
My name's Adam David, and I am in Western Mass. And I guess I'm just a regular guy. I have my office job, and I do my woo-woo healing stuff on the side. And so I love going out in nature. I'm happiest out in the forest or sitting by a campfire or talking about spiritual stuff. It makes me happy. So that's me.
Yeah, you recently were talking about expanding your garden this year. Did you say that?
Yeah, so I kind of have a thing with gardens. I have a lot of them, and our house is kind of full of them. You can see a few of my little plants in the background there. They're all through the house, under the house, around the house. They're everywhere. So yeah, we have vegetable gardens and decorative gardens, and we live on a forest line, so we're surrounded by plants.
Do you have a favorite plant?
I always get asked that question. It's usually the one that is probably not doing well at the moment. So my favorite plant is the one that needs me the most at that moment.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Like you mean
Yeah,
like the one that you need a doctor or tend to or show up for?
yeah, it tends to get most of my attention. I have a couple of plants. Like I have my plant ICU where I take in plants that aren't necessarily doing well, and I see if I can bring them back. And so that's Yeah, you'll frequently find me in plant shops and garden centers with the free take one section because they're just not going to make it. I try and bring them back. So yeah, whichever one I'm working on at the moment.
That's pretty cool.
I
That's
don't
awesome. Like you're a plant rehabilitator.
know. On a good day, yes, yes. I
Plant
certainly try.
medicine man. Nice.
Plant medicine man. That would be a fantastic title.
Nice. I love it. So tell me a little bit like before you joined the Witching Well, give us a little bit of a sense of like where you were at, what was going on in your life. Who Adam before the Witching Well?
Adam before the Witching Well, very corporate guy, an office guy, yearning to be less office. I've always been very interested in religions and spirituality, and my whole life I've been studying them. I've spent decades researching different faiths and traditions and different belief systems, and I'm fascinated by it. I think they're wonderful. So a couple of years ago, I started looking more into nature-based spirituality. There's a mouthful.
Right? No.
Um, and uh, and I was fascinated by it, but I was overwhelmed because I was doing a lot of book work, a lot of online research, studying, reading. I didn't know too many people who were in a pagan sort of tradition, and it was overwhelming. I was a bit confused. There are so many different facets. You know, there's divination, there's witchcraft, there's ancestry, there's the elements. I mean, there's so many different facets. And I think I was trying to figure out how to bring them all into, I think, like a working practice, something that I could actually incorporate or test out to see if it even works for me.
Right. And so how did so what about the Witching Well like like based on, it sounds like you're like struggling for that integrative piece. So what about the witching well drew you to it? Like, why did you decide to like to to give it to come into our little collective? What were you seeking that you like? What have you found?
I think I was looking for an opportunity to learn with and from people who have actual hands-on experience. It's one thing to read a book and to learn, or to watch a video and to absorb the information, but to actually then go from there to do it, to practice it, to see, does it fit. I think I was looking for people to kind of help offer that guidance, that advice, that support system. But I wasn't so committed to any particular direction or any organized tradition. And again, that's not to knock anyone. It just, I wanted to, I guess, dip my toes in the water and try different things. And I think that was the thing that really appealed to me about the well was I had kind of known you a little bit from the store, and I was comfortable talking to you and working with you. And I was like, all right, well, it's not going to hurt. I can try it. I can try it and see, does it even work? Does it fit with me?
And
And so yeah,
what'd you discover? What have you discovered since you joined?
I love it. I love it. It's so much fun. I look forward to it. And I know that sounds like a cheesy commercial, but it's not. It's like, it's real.
What about it? Like what about it that you look forward to? Like what is it that like a specific, is there a specific
It's
aspect or an activity or like could you describe that?
sure.
I know it's hard to put in, I know. It's hard to put in
It's
words.
the I think there's a couple of things that I like about it. So I definitely like the effort that you put into the monthly subject, the monthly topic. So there's the chapter that you put together, the written work, and there's your presentation. And I think that is nice to kind of nudge me in directions that maybe I wouldn't necessarily have explored before. Um, and so that's helpful. It kind of gives me an area to focus on for a particular time frame, for a month or whatnot. But I think where I really get my groove is with the mentoring sessions, like where we're all on a call and we're all just hanging out and chatting about the subject, the topic of the month, or if you had any revelations for the month, like if anything happened, even if it's not on that subject, or
Right.
if you're having any challenges. Or I learned so much from other people because it's not all just witchy people. It's people from so many different directions and so many different paradigms and belief systems and traditions and practical experiences and different levels. You know, some people are really, really good at one thing, but don't have a lot of experience at another thing. And it's just that whole melee of experience and tradition and ideas that we get into some really good conversations. And I learned so much from the dialogue. And then that always, going into the mentoring sessions, always gives me that little nudge, like, okay, yeah. When talked about it, you read the book, you saw the presentation, yeah. But now you're going to be on the spot. You have to talk about it. You have to say something when you get on there. So
Right. I call
it
it
gives me that,
gentle accountability.
the gentle accountability. We'll go with that. Yeah, it's that nudge. Like you have to do something, and it's that constant reminder. Step in, do something. Don't just read about it. Do it. And that to me is, it's taken me from the pre-well, where it was a lot of studying and book learning and all that, which is great. I love it, but then it encourages me to do it. Try it. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it does work. Maybe you like it. Maybe you don't like it. But then let's talk about it.
Right. So
And
yeah, I was gonna ask you, how has your practice changed from before you were in the well to now?
uh, it's totally changed. It's totally changed because I didn't have an organized practice. I had Adam wandering around in the forest. Um,
Which sounds great.
it's great. It's fantastic. Having a wonderful time, thinking about all the things that I had read about or saw a video, or questions I had, writing my little poems and things like that. And it was wonderful. But now I feel like I go into the forest or I go into the grocery store, wherever I am, with a different perspective and a different feel. And it's like my practice has now become more part of my life. And that to me was the big shift. Was it went from the books to now I feel a little bit more comfortable stepping in. I mean, look at me. I'm on a
I know.
recorded video on the internet talking about spirituality and my personal belief system, and it's I'm not going to say it's entirely because of the well, but I'm going to say the well has been an integral part to nudging me into that comfortable aspect of living it, doing it, being it.
Nice. If someone was like didn't really not really like curious about what happens inside the witching well, or wasn't really sure what it was like to be part of it, what would you share with them? What would you want to like insight you would like, or a tip that you think would help them like really get the most out of their experience if they were to join the witching well?
I think the well is it's good for specific if you're in a specific spot. Like I don't think it would fit for everyone. I do think it's a great fit for somebody who is looking for um, a perspective on a broader variety. It's all nature-based spirituality, but the subjects are. I mean, we go from the phases of the moon to the wheel of the year to um, divination. I mean, it's all over the place. And I think if somebody has that curiosity about interacting with people and trying different things without having a commitment. There's no one saying you have to do this or you have to do it this way, or if you don't do this, if you don't participate, you're not part of the club.
Right.
Um, it's just that open environment where you feel emboldened to try things. And
Right.
I think that's if somebody's looking for that experience, this is a really safe, open, warm. The people in the group are so friendly and so welcoming, and they bring their experience. If that's where you are in your path, I'd say give it a shot. It's a really good experience.
Do you have like a favorite chapter, favorite month, or one? I don't know if you've gotten to them all because it's quite a
Mm.
big library, but do you have one that stands out as
Yeah,
really impactful?
yeah, definitely. There are a couple that really got me, but the when we went through the moon, and you had challenged us with the monthly moon challenge, and it was to own something
Mm-hmm.
for a full a full cycle of the moon, and you didn't really put too many parameters around it. It was pretty open ended. It was like, here's your time frame is a cycle, and commit to something and try and see how the moon interacts and how that weighs in, and then let's talk about it. And that for me was very, very impactful. I was like, I'm not really at this point right now. And you said, okay, that's fine. Go where you are and be there. But then all of a sudden it just kind of came around, and I ended up doing it for like 2 moon cycles. And I was totally pulled in on divination and tarot, and which is something I was curious about and I was trying to practice with. But this was like that nudge, that commitment that says, okay, let's see if we can do it every day, even a little bit, and just kind of let's use the moon cycle as that constant reminder. Okay, well, which phase are we in right now, and how does that have any impact? And that was kind of like my excuse to keep doing this on a regular basis. So yeah, that totally changed things
Change.
for me.
Yeah, like for anyone who's watching, and through the summer we had a whole work like well, the moon obviously does its cycle every 28, 29, 30 days. But we specifically picked a moon cycle where as a group we like really dug in deep and everyone got to pick their own practice, like whatever it was they were gonna focus on. But we like really dug in deep into like, working with a full moon cycle and paying attention to how it impacted our lives and what we were focusing on, which was really pretty cool to do together as a group. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, that was really, and we should do it again in the winter. I think we're in the
definitely,
winter
definitely.
time. Awesome. So if there was anything you would, anything you think it's important for people to know, or that you, before we wrap up, like anything you were like, one thing you would want to share, or something you're like, there's something you want folks that were considering the witching well, what would you want them to know?
I would say that be prepared and expecting an open, welcoming environment that is self-dependent. You drive the bus. You being the participant, not
Right.
you being Winifred.
Right.
Wynn will give you the guidelines. She will give you this is how we create a safe environment, a container where we can all interact and feel comfortable doing that. So there are definitely the do's and don'ts when you're in the well, which I think are pretty much commonsensical, but good to have everybody on the same page. But otherwise, there's a plethora of topics. There's a whole library of information, videos and documentation and interviews and all kinds of things to explore and to play around with. And then you come back to the community and interact with us. There isn't anything that says you have to do this on this day for this period of time. So it's very much an independent study, but a very supported and welcoming environment. So that would, I think, be the, if I go back to when I was curious about the well, if I truly understood that, then it would have been a much easier decision. This isn't a structured group where we start on page 1 and everybody's on page 1 today, and tomorrow we're all on page 2. You work at your pace, and the rest of us are there to support you and encourage you, and also to gain your support and your encouragement and your experience. So be prepared to bring that and help us learn. Because we're all learning. That's why we're here.
Yeah, I like that. I think you said the other day, you said it's a coven for solitary practitioners, or a collective for solitary practitioners. Like,
right.
And that's why I named it the well. Like, we are like, I think of like, I very much identify as like a village witch or an earth witch, and I feel like witches of old, whether they called themselves witches or not, would have gathered in the marketplace or around the well, like long ago, like our marketplace or the community well was a place where everyone came to, and they visited and they swapped recipes and stories and bits of encouragement and and got empowered by each other. And so I think of the well as a place that where it nourishes you, and it's a resource that you dip into. And if you want more active support, you can get on the mentoring calls and get to work with me and have access to not only my wisdom and experience. I've literally done this stuff since I was a teenager, but also the other community members that show up on the call. We all can be there providing a space for each other. So it's kind of like it is like a collective instead of
it is.
That's why I call it uncovening. It's like a lot of the benefits and richness that the coven brings with the structure. There is the right amount of structure to keep it safe, like you were saying, but not a lot. No one's going to tell you how to be a witch. Like, you're going to learn how to witch your way, is what I call it. Like, and we're here to guide you and empower you. It's kind of,
yeah. I think that was it. I think the non-committal commitment that goes along with it. I mean, your own drive, your own curiosity is really what kind of pulls you through the well, and that's why I say you really work at your own pace with the support of others. And if you can't make it to a mentoring session, then that's okay. They're recorded. Right. Watch it. There's Wynn has office time, or there's the Facebook group, and which never been on Facebook, so I don't really know what that is. This is going on Facebook, isn't it? Hi, Facebook. This is me.
I appreciate you being willing to do this since you're not on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess I am now, or will be.
Well, you bring up a really good point, about, would you call it non-committed, committed? So
yeah.
The primary, we have core values that we gather around. Since we aren't a coven, what does hold us together? Like, we have community guidelines, we have core values, and we also have a common, what is it? We have a common thread of commitment to our own spiritual growth and development. So if you're ready to invest in your spiritual growth and development, we're ready to empower you and support you in that journey. But we're not going to tell you how to witch, because witching your spirituality is a very personal practice. So we're going to give you, you're right, we're going to provide you with tools and resources so you can witch your way, and encourage you and nudge you. Sometimes we nudge, sometimes we encourage, sometimes we hold space. But because I really do feel very strongly witches need witches and magical people need magical people. And there's a certain growth that takes place when we're inside a sacred container together that, you know, can be missing when you only practice on your own. But most folks practice on their own, as solitary. So this is my modern hybrid of a collective that I think better serves modern witches. That's why we do what we do.
Absolutely.
So,
It's better
yeah.
to learn. It's better to learn with others, I think, sometimes, and then go practice on your own. But yeah, I really enjoy the collective experience.
Yeah. Well, I know my own experience, like sometimes like, you know, someone else can see something that's totally obvious to them in your practice that you're just like, oh my God, I totally had not put that together. Or I was not seeing that. And then someone else kind of calls you out and you're like, oh, right. Like I know that,
Right.
yeah, you're just like, oh, yep, I'm called out right now. Like there's that, right? And like your magic does
Yeah.
have oh, hey, there's a Celt sister. Hello, Celt sister. You have to say your name. I can't see your name sometimes in the StreamYard software. So I know that like we were talking about this in the Reiki training the other day, like how your own magic, your own healing, even a plant can show up and call you out. Like if a plant showing up in your life calling you out, you're like, oh, or like a tarot card can call you out. And it can be easy when we're on our own. I think everyone is not objective. We're all subjective. We're all seeing the world through our eyes. But one of the benefits of being in a dedicated, caring, contained magical community that's focused, like we're all there and showing up, is that we can help like be that tarot card, you know, like we can help in a loving, respectful way that empowers you to like be like, oh, maybe I hadn't thought of it that way, or, you know, or wow, help string something together. I know some things happen repeatedly for magical folk. Like you might be getting the same tarot card over and over again, or a plant that, or a deity, or something keeps, or a dream. And you can go a lot further when you have other people to unpack that stuff with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's Becca. Hi, Becca. Hello. So, all right. So, thank you. Any last words before we wrap up? I appreciate you being here.
No, like I say, I'm beating the drum over and over again, but I just say, you know, I mean, if it meets you in your path where you're at, that you're looking for that supportive environment to learn, then I can only speak for myself. It's been a wonderful experience, and I would love additional people to learn from, and learn along with. So, yeah, give it a try. We'd love to have it.
Awesome. Thank you. All
Yeah.
right, everyone. I don't want to take up too much of Adam's time. I know he stepped away from his job, so I want to be respectful of your time and my time. And thank you, anyone who's caught us live. I always appreciate that. If you have caught this on the replay, write replay in the comments. If you have any questions, also put them in the comments, even if I'm checking back later to see them. All right, everyone, have an awesome day, and I'll catch you all soon. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.